My MIT diploma's lying in a puddle, research papers scattered across the lawn like garbage, Claire's screaming from the porch, something about 26 wasted years, and Bryce Holland standing behind her wearing my white dress shirt, the one I wore to our anniversary dinner last month. Our twin daughters watch from the doorway, arms crossed, eyes cold, like they don't know me anymore. I'm 52 years old, and my wife just threw me out of my own house. What she doesn't know, what none of them know, is that house isn't hers. Never was. And the poor researcher she's been humiliating for 26 years is worth $2.4 billion. I've been waiting 2 years for this moment. My name's Philip Lancaster. Rain's soaking through my jacket, water filling my shoes. Claire's still yelling, but I'm not listening anymore. Thunder cracks overhead. I zip up my coat slow. Very well, I say. And right there, drenched, I smile. Just a twitch. But if you knew what I knew, you'd understand. This isn't surrender. This is checkmate. Let me back up. 28 years ago, I was nobody. MIT doctoral student, lived on Folgers coffee and research grants. Wore the same bomber jacket for 3 years. Then Claire Ashford walked into my life. Marketing major, talked like a future CEO, looked like trouble I couldn't afford. Her dad sold insurance. Her mom tended bar. Claire spent her whole life staring through glass at Boston's money class, planning her climb. She picked me. Still don't know why. We got married fast. Too fast. What Claire never knew was I wasn't poor. I was camouflaged. Before she kissed me the first time, I'd already licensed 3 patents and built the framework for Ascent Biopharmaceuticals, worth $2.4 billion today. But I buried it under shell companies, blind trusts, fake names across 4 continents. My grandfather Leonard taught me that. He kept a journal from 1955. His wife Margaret left him for his business partner after she found out about his money. Took everything. I found that journal when I was 16. Leonard's handwriting, 70 years old, still clear. One line stuck with me. Never let them see your vault. The moment they do, you become the mark. So I lived small. Research salary, $450K house in Concord, NH, Honda Civic with coffee stains on the seats. To the world, I was smart but ordinary. To Claire, I was safe, controllable, harmless. We had Isabel and Harper. For a while, I thought my plan worked. A family who loved me for me, not my money. Eventually, lies show through. 4 years ago, things changed. Claire started locking her phone. Gym alone, tennis club, private sessions with Bryce Holland. I said nothing, not when she came home late, not when I found cologne on the laundry that wasn't mine, not when our joint account started bleeding $185K over 18 months. Instead, I called Raymond Tucker. Ray's my oldest friend, former ONE, now does private investigation. We go back to MIT Lincoln Lab days. She's sloppy, Ray said after 2 weeks. Multiple affairs. And she's not just cheating, Phil. She's trying to gut you financially. That's when I started building the trap. I traced every withdrawal, every shadow transaction, let her think she was winning. What Claire didn't know was that account held less than 2% of my real wealth. She was stealing monopoly money. The real fortune sat locked in Lancaster Trust Partners, untouchable, invisible. But the money wasn't the worst part. Ray planted audio devices. Late-night recordings showed what Claire told our daughters. Your father holds us back. If he made real money, you'd be at Yale. You'd have summers in Europe. Isabel and Harper started echoing it. Subtle at first, then cutting. Harper once asked me, "Why are you so selfish with money?" She was 16, didn't even know what she was saying, just repeating her mother's poison. I sat in my car that night, gripped the steering wheel till my knuckles went white, engine off, rain hammering the roof, stayed there 10 minutes, didn't go inside. I endured it in silence. Wasn't ready to fight, not yet. Then came tonight. Kicked out of my own house. Humiliated in front of my kids. Claire standing with another man in my doorway, wearing victory like perfume. She crossed the line. The Pinewood Lodge Motel costs $48 a night. Room 208 smells like old soap and something I don't want to identify. Mattress feels like concrete. My back's already screaming. 52 years old and sleeping on this. But it's got privacy. And right now, privacy's priceless. I sit on the edge of the bed, pull out my phone, Pour 2 fingers of Yamazaki from the flask in my jacket. Sit in the dark for a minute. Then I dial. 4 digits later, Ray answers. Ready? He says. Execute Phase 1. Phase 1 started 2 years ago, when I first noticed the irregular transactions, the missing jewelry, the lies piling up like snow. I didn't scream, didn't accuse. I planned. Step 1. Shift all assets into layered, irrevocable trusts. Delaware and New Hampshire jurisdictions, maximum confidentiality, primary holding registered as a Cent Equity Trust, notarized in Concord. Trustee oversight by Lancaster Trust Partners, a firm I secretly co-founded. Step 2. Create a dummy marital account. Fill it just enough to look real. Let her drain it slowly. Watch her think she's winning. Step 3. Hire rotating legal teams across my companies. Create a fortress of conflict of interest. No firm could represent Claire without violating prior agreements. That morning, Claire got a letter, not from me, from Lancaster Family Holding Trust. Delivered by courier, notarized, legal as hell. It informed her she had 48 hours to vacate the property. The house was registered under the trust, never technically hers. A clause buried in documents I'd placed before her 5 years ago. She'd never read them. She called me screaming. You're throwing me out of my house? My voice stayed flat. You mean the house? The one I bought with money from a cent? The company you never asked about? Yeah, that house. What the hell are you talking about? You thought I worked for the city, Claire. You never asked why I traveled to Zurich once a year, what the separate mailbox was for. Silence. Then a whisper. A cent? I didn't answer. Let the name sit there. You lied to me. No. I protected myself from exactly this. Bryce tried to help her. Called a lawyer. Cheap, loud, aggressive type. When the firm discovered who I was and how many of their senior partners were already tied to a Cent or Lancaster Holdings, they dropped Bryce like a scandal. Claire tried another firm, then another. Fletcher and Ames, Granger Law Group, Simmons Rothstein. One by one, they declined. All cited prior consulting conflicts or existing fiduciary overlap. I hadn't just hidden assets. I'd built legal minefields years in advance. Claire's control crumbled hour by hour. She checked accounts only to find them rerouted through shell corporations she'd never seen. The account she'd been stealing from, a decoy. The funds she thought were hidden, frozen. The condo in Aspen, never in her name. She tried to confront me. The number she had no longer worked. I was gone. At the motel, I sit at a small desk under a yellow bulb. Room smells like decades of cigarette smoke they tried to cover with bleach. But it's quiet. And in that quiet, I'm more powerful than I've ever been. Not in a boardroom, not in court, but alone, pulling apart the web that almost drowned me. I open a file marked Holland-Navarro Pipeline. Ray's team built this over 18 months. 12 women, 12 drained bank accounts, average take $340K per victim. Claire was number 8. It details a system. Women, lonely, wealthy, vulnerable. Each referred by Patricia Navarro, Claire's boss at Summit Marketing Group, to Bryce under the guise of personal training. Each woman had trust funds, assets, inheritances. Each mysteriously drained large sums within 2 years of meeting Bryce. What Claire thought was an affair was actually a sales funnel for exploitation. Emails, wire transfers, GPS data. Patricia was getting referral fees. Bryce took his cut. Calvin Ward, Summit's CFO, laundered it through a property firm in Miami. I don't want revenge anymore. I want exposure. I draft 3 letters that night. One for the IRS, one for the SEC, one for Summit's board of directors, detailing Patricia's involvement in fraud and unethical practices. I don't need to destroy Claire. That's already happening. I need to collapse the entire stage she thought she owned. Isabel and Harper haven't called in days. That hurts worse than the legal battles, but truth hits hard. Once my daughters see the files, there's no going back. I print a folder, timelines, bank records, images, voice transcripts, not for court, for them. So when they ask one day, why didn't you fight? I can show them I did, just not with fists. At 3 a.m. I lie on the stiff motel bed, stare at water stains on the ceiling. Don't cry, don't smile, just listen to the silence. For the first time in years, the silence feels clean. Morning comes. Claire returns to the house. Her key doesn't work. The alarm screams when she tries the garage. The doorbell camera blinks. A robotic voice plays through the speaker. "This property is no longer available to you." She steps back. Her empire, her security, gone. She sends one last message. "You'll regret this, Phil. You've destroyed our family. I read it and deleted it. She destroyed everything long before I struck back. I only gave her what she asked for, freedom. She just never expected it to be this cold. I'm not finished, just getting started." The courtroom at Merrimack County Superior Court is cold. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead, smell of old paper and floor wax, air conditioning set to Arctic. I walk in wearing charcoal gray, no tie, sleeves rolled, not here to posture, here to finish what she started. In my hand, 2 folders, slim, clean, lethal, years of evidence. Claire sits stiff in a red blazer. She hasn't spoken to me since the house, since her bank app turned to zeros, since her lawyer went silent. Her face is steel, but I've known that face 26 years. I see the cracks, clenched jaw, eye twitch, fingers fumbling with a ring she still wears. Not the wedding band. That's gone. This one's newer, flashier. Judge Barbara Clifton enters. Stern, elegant, presence that settles the room like gravity. This is a preliminary hearing regarding marital asset division and temporary custody for minors, Isabel and Harper Lancaster. I sit straighter. My daughters aren't just names on paper. They're the only thing left worth saving. Claire's attorney stands. Lewis Carmichael. Looks more like a talk show guest than legal counsel. Tan suit, 2 white teeth, voice like he's addressing a jury that doesn't exist yet. "Your Honor, my client has been deceived. For over 26 years, she stood beside a man who concealed vast wealth, manipulated financial records, made unilateral decisions affecting their entire family. She seeks transparency, fairness, access to the life she helped build. I listen without flinching. Almost impressive how they turn omission into crime. When my name's called, I stand. Calm, deliberate, like a man with nothing left to hide. Your Honor, my wife was not unaware. She was willfully blind. For over a decade, she managed accounts she didn't understand, withheld financial information from me, engaged in coordinated efforts to alienate our daughters from their father. I've submitted evidence of this pattern. Exhibit A contains transcripts of conversations between Ms. Ashford and our children, as well as account activity showing $185K in concealed withdrawals. I place the folder on the judge's bench. Not thrown. Placed. Gentle. This isn't about money. It's about truth, and how that truth was used as a weapon against me. Judge Clifton flips through slowly. The courtroom goes silent. Cold air keeps blowing. I watch Claire's face as each page turns. She doesn't speak, doesn't blink, just sits there. On the 4th page is a photo. Bryce Holland and Patricia Navarro at a tennis court. Time-stamped, linked to wire transfers from a shell entity Claire once claimed was for consulting. I continue. Voice level. What's worse than betrayal is betrayal served as sacrifice. She told our children I was the reason we lived modestly, that if I'd been more successful, they'd have had better schools, better vacations, better lives. That poison doesn't show up on balance sheets, but it breaks people. Judge Clifton sets the folder down. Ms. Ashford, do you dispute this evidence? Claire clears her throat, falters. Some of it is misleading, taken out of context. Then we'll review the full context during the hearing. Until then, all contested assets are frozen. Custody is awarded jointly with residential placement favoring the parent demonstrating primary caregiving and stability. That is currently Mr. Lancaster. Claire stiffens. Her lawyer looks away. I don't gloat, just nod. The hallway outside feels like a vacuum. Claire follows me, heels clicking like warning shots on marble. "You think this is justice?" she hisses. "You humiliate me, freeze my life, now you want the girls too?" I don't stop walking. I don't want to take anything. I want what's mine back. My name, my daughters, my peace. You planned this. You've been building this behind my back for years. I turn to face her. You started building your escape the moment you met him. You just never thought I'd have an exit plan too. They'll hate you. When they grow up and realize what you did to their mother. To their mother? Something in my voice changes. What about what their mother did to their father? Claire blinks. For a moment she looks unprepared, like the script she rehearsed didn't include a man who doesn't crumble. They'll choose me, she says quietly. I look her dead in the eye. I'm not asking them to choose. I'm asking them to know the truth. Whatever they decide after that, I'll live with. I walk away. Footsteps echoing in marble hallways. Outside, wind picks up. Leaves blow across the parking lot. Feels like the end of something. I get in my car, rest my head against the wheel, exhale. The kind that empties a man but makes space for something new. Back at the motel, I sit down and write a letter. Not for Court, not for Claire, for Isabel and Harper. I don't want them finding out through court transcripts or school whispers. I want them to hear it from me. Everything. The silence, the betrayal, the battle. The moment I decided silence was no longer love, it was surrender. I signed the letter with one sentence. If truth is all I have left to give you, then let it be the whole truth. The letter arrives 2 days later, delivered by courier. Plain white envelope, no return address. Harper finds it first, stands by the front door holding it like it might explode. Claire opens it at the kitchen table, still wearing her silk robe at noon, still waiting for a lawyer call that'll never come. She doesn't cry when she reads it, doesn't scream. She just sits there, said nothing, scared me more than yelling. For the first time in weeks, no walls left to lean on. Bryce vanished. Last text, too hot right now, lay low. Patricia's under federal review. Calvin Ward's assets being audited. Social invitations gone silent, replaced by whispers in group chats that no longer include her name. Even the girls pulled away. Harper avoiding eye contact. Isabel locking her bedroom door, texting a father she once swore she hated. One night, Isabel comes downstairs holding a manila folder. Thick, organized, labeled. Dad gave me this, she says. Voice careful. He said I could read it if I wanted. Said he wouldn't be mad if I didn't. Claire reaches for it. Isabel doesn't let go. I already read it. The moment hangs there. And? Claire asks, trying to sound neutral. Isabel stares at her. You lied. Just that. No rage, no drama. When Isabel said those words, I saw it in Claire's face. She knew it was over. By week's end, Harper asks to spend the weekend at my motel. Claire says no. Harper goes anyway. At Pinewood Lodge, I make space for them. Buy real food. Fold towels into neat triangles. Hide the yellow legal pads. Turn the spare bed into something that doesn't feel like punishment. I don't ask questions. Don't push for affection. Just make room. For healing. For presence. For them. Second night, Harper curls up beside me. Whispers, I thought you left us. I don't look away. I never left you. I just stopped standing where she told me to stand. Claire, alone now, calls her sister for the first time in years. I messed up, she says. No defense, no bitterness, just the sound of someone who ran out of reasons. I thought I was protecting them from him, but maybe I was protecting myself from what I'd become. But redemption doesn't come with confession alone. It demands consequence. Media gets wind of the investigation. Headlines surface. Marketing exec implicated in corporate laundering scheme. Photos of Bryce and Patricia on yachts they claimed never to have rented. Claire's name isn't in the first wave, but it hovers, waiting. One afternoon, she stands in the driveway of the house she no longer owns, looks up at windows that don't recognize her, thinks of the garden I used to tend, the one she always said was a waste of time. It's withered now. Roots still cling to soil, but life's been drained. Inside the motel room, I watch my daughters sleep. Don't feel like I won anything. Just feel tired. But the good kind of tired. I reach into the drawer beside the bed, pull out a pen. Leonard's journal sits beside my laptop. Same betrayal, 70 years apart. In the corner of my notebook, I write, when the storm passed, I wasn't standing where I used to be, but I was still standing. Some betrayals don't leave bruises, they leave silence. I learned that the hard way. It wasn't the lies, wasn't the infidelity. It was trust rotting away inside the walls I built to protect my family. And when truth surfaced, it wasn't just about Bryce or money. It was deeper, more personal. Family betrayal rewrites everything. But I didn't drown in it. I endured quietly, deliberately. I didn't celebrate the courtroom victory. No champagne, no statements. Just a motel room, 2 daughters slowly rediscovering their father, and a man learning how to breathe without bitterness. I gave Claire nothing more than what she earned. Space. Arizona became her new beginning. Phoenix receptionist at $16 an hour. Studio apartment for $950 a month. Her name never made federal charges, but reputation doesn't need a warrant to collapse. She sends birthday cards to the girls. They come back returned to sender. Patricia Navarro got hit harder. IRS found $780K unreported income from finder's fees. Summit Marketing fired her, put out a statement. We sever all ties with Patricia Navarro. She can't find work in marketing anymore? Turns out nobody wants to hire someone who ran a exploitation pipeline through their company. Calvin Ward caught federal wire fraud charges. 4 years at FPC Butner. His lawyer tried to cut a deal. Prosecutors weren't interested. Bryce vanished. Mexico, last anyone heard. His Instagram went dark in 2019. Some women deserve closure. They won't get it from him. Back in Concord, I built something better. Lancaster and Daughters. Not a revenge business. A guidepost. A place where young women, many from broken homes, learn to protect themselves. Read contracts. Trust carefully. Recognize the patterns before they become traps. Harper helps with outreach. Isabel runs the numbers. I stay in the background, exactly where I want to be. One evening, Harper asks, "Why didn't you fight Mom harder?" I look up from my desk because I wasn't fighting her. I was fighting what she became. Pause. And maybe if I'd seen it sooner, my wife wouldn't have had the chance to disappear into someone I didn't recognize. That honesty doesn't fix everything. But it opens a door. Still hard days. Nights when Isabel asks, "Did you ever love her?" And I answer without hesitation. Yes. But that doesn't mean I let her destroy me. Real redemption didn't come in court. It came when Harper came home on her own. No lawyers, no orders, just a knock on the door and a hug that didn't end with a question. It came when Isabel finished the mural in our office hallway, a cracked field with a tree rising from it, painted in dusk colors. Beneath it, a single line. We're not broken, we're planted. That fall, I started gardening again. Different house, smaller yard, but I like the quiet, the ritual, dirt under my nails. Knees hurt on the ground, but I don't mind. Hands in soil. Lilies bloom late. Harper's favorite. As I water them one morning, a breeze picks up. Clean, cool, steady. I look up at the sky. This is enough, I whisper. Year 1. Isabel and Harper only text me short messages. Year 2. We have Thanksgiving. Together. First time. Harper brings pie she made herself, burns the crust, but nobody says anything. Year 3. Harper paints my portrait for her RISD portfolio. Caption underneath, "The man who stayed." Year 5. Isabel graduates MIT, asks me to give a speech at her celebration dinner. Small group, just us and Ray and a few friends. "You taught me silence has teeth," she says in her toast, "and that sometimes walking away is the only way to stay standing." I don't cry, but my eyes get wet. Ray puts a hand on my shoulder. Doesn't say anything, doesn't need to. I still go to the motel sometimes, not room 208. They tore that building down last year. But I drive past where it used to be. Remember the yellow bulb, the concrete mattress, the moment I chose peace over fury. Claire drove by the house once, year 2, I think. Slowed down, saw me and Harper in the front yard planting bulbs. She didn't wave. I didn't acknowledge her, just kept working the soil. She drove away. Never saw her again. Sometimes that's the greatest victory of all. Not revenge, not even justice, just peace. Family betrayal shook my foundation, but it didn't steal my future.